Welcome to Tennis Spin, where we put our spin on your tennis. Today, viewer question: what are used rackets really worth? That's a great question, actually. Stay tuned. Guys, good morning to everybody. Coffee sponsor of the day is Leo B. Leo writes, new to tennis, your channel has made the transition from being a full-time rock climber to a now full-time dad that still wants to remain at peak performance. Enjoy the brew. Oh, thank you, Leo. I appreciate you. If you want to be my coffee sponsor of the day, network is buymeacoffee.com/tennis spin. Glad to be able to help everyone out there, including my new friend who hooked me up today, Leo. All right. Thank you, everybody, in advance. So I'm in front of this wall here today because we know that there's a value on new rackets. You know just by typing up, let's say, Pure Strike 16 by 19 by Babolat, right? Everybody sells it for the same price, right? Babolat dictates that price. So we know that price. We know pretty much every price of a new racket on the market that's being sold because the companies basically tell us, the retailers, how much they are. But how much is a used strike worth, let's say? Well, let me get into the question that was asked to me. CG, okay, or Chris, it says, I love the videos you post. They are more informational than most content being put out right now. Since you are a store owner, I wanted to ask you about used racket sales. I'm getting back into tennis after a long break, and I've started looking for used rackets to get at a decent price. I've noticed that used rackets that are all beat up and scratched up are the same price as new ones. I even saw a racket that had been angrily smashed against the ground several times and was broken beyond use is still being sold for $75. How is this possible? Or have I been out of tennis too long? Would love to hear your thoughts. Thanks, Chris. Well, Chris, I think with the height of tennis being kind of like right now when people are, just wanting to re-enter the game. I think COVID peaked it out because everybody needed something to do that wasn't indoors. And with the racket shortage, people felt like they could get like a premium for used rackets. I feel that that's definitely slowing down now, and hopefully we'll get back to a decent range for the used racket market. I have actually a bunch of used rackets here that, you can kind of guess, on eBay what these could go for. I would just go to a place like eBay, type in a racket, like a Hammer Tour, Wilson Hammer Tour, and see what it goes for on there at various conditions. I would probably say, this racket's probably 15 years old, maybe longer. So my guess, and it's kind of beat up, kind of, used up. I would say fair racket value for this particular racket would be like $50, 50 to 70. Maybe 80 on a great day if somebody really, really wants it. But But it really depends. Again, it's supply and demand. If this is the only racket that's being sold on, let's say, eBay, and they're asking $100 for it, there's no other options. If you want to spend $100 and you have to have it, right? Or if you have to have it and it's at $100, well, how much do you want it? Or do you want to wait? Or do you want to risk losing it? Right? So it all depends on the buyer. You know, like something like this racket, the 5.6 Hyper Hammer. Guys ever see something like that with the rollers? Remember the roller technology? You probably don't. These were really strange rackets back in the day. I don't know what Wilson was thinking. But something like this is pretty rare. But pretty much, I don't want to say valueless, but there isn't a huge demand for a racket like this. So maybe $50, even, you know, in its current state, which is in not bad a shape. But because there isn't a demand for this particular racket, you know, that's why I'm saying $50 is probably a good number. Like this hybrid from Prince here, right? XO3 Prince. Like, I would probably value this at, I mean, it's probably 10 years old, maybe a little bit more. I mean, I don't put a whole lot of value into used rackets unless it's like pristine condition and collector's item. So I would say $100 or less for any of these. Like, this is like, to me, $80 max. All right. And then we go and turn back the clock into some 80s here. It's okay, I got it. We're gonna turn back the clock into some 80 rackets here. The Graphite Prophecy. This is like 1990 racket. I'm gonna show you that name, Graphite Prophecy. Which is actually a decent racket back in the day. I mean, I would probably value this racket at like $30. You know, if you're lucky enough to see this at Goodwill, it's probably $5 or $10. So what I would suggest to you, Chris, is maybe go check out some of your local Goodwills, because you could probably find a really good deal there if you're just getting back into the game. You might be lucky and get something really good. Garage sale. Last racket here. So I'm just kind of going through my pile of used rackets here for you, just to give you kind of insight on what I think rackets are worth. So this is actually one of the more popular rackets, the 6.3 Hyper Hammer. I mean, these were at like Big Five, Dick's for like $99.99, $89.99, $129.99 back in the day. So these rackets, like in this state, and I'm going to show you, it's actually in pretty good condition. Well, cosmetically not, but it looks like the structure of it's still pretty good. So I would say something like this, worth probably $50, $50, $60. So if you're kind of in the used racket market, I would say anything that's within the last 5 years would probably be like $80 to $100, right? In decent shape, In pristine shape, maybe $100 to $120. Anything older than that, I'd say $50 to $80 is pretty fair. Okay. Granted, it's not cracked. So Chris had mentioned something about a cracked racket that's unplayable being at $75. I don't understand that. I don't understand that value, but I mean, I've seen stranger things than that. You know, it's kind of a strange world, like where certain people might buy a cracked racket for $75 for, let's say, a photo shoot, or who knows what somebody wants to do with a cracked racket. I mean, maybe just take a part out of it, like a butt cap, or if it's super rare, maybe try to salvage, you know, something from it. But to play with a racket that you buy for $75 that's literally unplayable, I don't understand that. I really don't. Okay? Gotta tell you one quick thing though. I've seen on some eBay listings that people sell one tennis shoe, like brand new, one shoe, not a pair, one shoe. And I'm like, that's kind of strange. Why is this person selling one shoe? And it's usually like 20 bucks. So, and I'm like, you know, what are you gonna do with one shoe? And I actually asked somebody that, and you know, there's people with one leg out there. I was like, ew, never thought about that. So you never know, guys. You never know. All right. So check out the values if you're really into tennis. Check out, I mean, I like to look at eBay to see what used values are and to see what kind of the lay of the land of certain rackets that I still collect are worth. And, you know, see if I'm willing to pay for it. Because sometimes it's high, sometimes it's low. We don't know until we research it. Okay? Guys, thank you for watching Tennis Spin, where we put our spin on your tennis. Is this on?
Harry, what are we doing here?
Oh, hey, bud. How are you?
Good. How are you?
Good. So I'm just setting up my swing vision over here so that during our hitting session, we can, you know, see how bad I'm doing today.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
But you won't be doing bad, Harry.
No.
You'll be moving your feet, watching the ball.
This is why I love you, buddy.